welcome back to my channel. I've had a lot of people ask questions kind of about our PCS move with a cat. So today, that's what this video is going to be about. Whether you're PCSing with the military or you're just moving, I'm just going to kind of share our experience with moving our cat Felix overseas. To start off, when we found out that we were moving to Germany from North Dakota, I wanted to make sure that one, we could get Felix overseas with us. What we did is we had him with us personally on the plane instead of cargo. So if you were looking for information about sending your cat with cargo, I'm sorry, I don't really have experience with that, but I could try to answer any questions. The backstory with our cat is he was homeless. We got him when he was about 5 years old. So he's a little skittish. He can get a little stressed and stuff. So we've had him for 2 years. So he's better now, but I did want to make sure that he was good to go. So the first thing we did was we went to our local vet. I talked to her about all of our concerns and stuff and just made sure that he was good to go. Also, what we needed to take care of was our health certificate, obviously. So make sure that you're taking care of that way in advance. Depending on where you're stationed, it can take several weeks. For us, it took about a month with Grand Forks because we didn't have a certain vet that took care of health certificates, so they had to send it to someone in Ohio. So just make sure that you're taking care of that. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to right around the time that we were moving. Like I said, is I made sure that I got a lot of information beforehand, or I picked up a lot of the stuff that I wanted to pick up. When I first found out that we were moving overseas, I went on YouTube as well and tried to look up a bunch of information and videos about this. And honestly, I couldn't find anything. So that's one reason I'm making this video. Start off is you have to make sure that if your cat is going to go with you as baggage, one, he's considered a part of your baggage. So he counts. You do have to pay a fee. I believe it was $150, but I could be wrong. But you do have to pay a fee. So just be prepared for that. So I wanted to make sure that his crate was TSA approved, meaning that it fits perfectly under the seat. It's not kind of large and crazy. You have to have a soft case. Can't be a hard case. So let me go ahead and grab ours, and I'll link everything below. We got this one on Amazon. I believe the brand is Mr. Peanuts because it's a big running joke, but they embroidery their name in there, so a lot of people think our cat is Mr. Peanuts, but he's not. So I do like this one. We're probably gonna get a new one soon because we've had this for a couple years, so it's kind of sinking in the middle a little bit, so I want to get one that's a little bit tougher. I've seen a lot of people get ones that are square. You can see how this one's kind of more rounded. The ones that are really square hold their structure a bit better, but this one has done its job. It's been great. So one thing that I loved about this is, and Felix loved this as well, is, here it is, there's extra room on the side. You can see just like this. So when we set Felix up underneath my seat, I was able to open this up. He got a little bit more extra room, as you can see. It does kind of go over into the side, into the passenger side, or the one next to you. So luckily that was my husband. But it just gave Felix a little bit more of a cozy extra room. I do love this one too because it has little pockets. We used a lot of putting his health certificate with him, a bunch of his information kind of right here. So that was really nice. It's open on the side. My cat's very curious, so he wants to see what's going on, but it's got this little flap too if you want to take it down. Another thing I liked about this one is the little bed inside, you can take out and you can wash it. So that was really awesome. At first, I was going to be putting down kind of some pee pads and stuff, or a pee pad in there just in case. But then I decided not to, and I'm glad I didn't, just because it's nice and soft and cozy in there. And I'll explain this in a little bit more in depth about it, but I had a little aroma spray in there as well, and I wanted to make sure that he was really smelling it. It helped him be a little bit more calm. So that is that. One little I wish with this is, I personally, our cat is very heavy. He is about 20 pounds, full of love, but trying to hold that in an airport for several hours while you're walking around and all that stuff, it can be a lot. I mean, with me personally, it just kind of hurt my shoulder. I want to get one next that has wheels, just so that you can kind of pull him from behind, him or her from behind. That's what I personally am gonna do. It does have a nice shoulder strap, so if you're okay with that, go for it. It's perfect. We did a lot of, both shoulder strap and holding. It's very, very strong and sturdy. So like I said, I've linked it below. We absolutely loved it. It's just getting a little old for us, so we're probably gonna get a new one soon. So the first thing that I recommend is start preparing them early. Felix, we've had an experience where he's traveled before and he did not travel very well. So we wanted to make sure that he was really, really good to go for this big, long adventure. So about a couple months beforehand, I started opening his crate and just kind of leaving it out. I would put little treats in it to try to get him to go inside. A lot of videos that I found said that cats got really comfortable and they just lay in there. My cat did not. I figured he wouldn't. But the fact that he was going in there, getting his treat, and I put it a little bit further back and stuff, and coming back out, that means that he was comfortable with going in there, and that was my goal. I do believe that that helped for sure, but I just wanted to get him familiar with what that was and that, prepare him and stuff. For that is, I started doing research and I wanted to make sure that I was prepared, and I'm so glad I did this. So we had, obviously, once it was closer to moving time, we had our unaccompanied baggage picked up and then our household goods, which included his litter box. And I was like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do for our cat to use the restroom? So on Amazon, I found the greatest thing in the world. This right here is a foldable portable litter box. I'm not even kidding you. Look at how small this is. It fit perfectly in our backpack. We kept it with us. I was expecting to use it just from or during the couple of days that we traveled. He had to use this for about a month after when we were in ROM and before our unaccompanied baggage even got here. So thank the Lord for this thing, and I've linked it below. It's so, so great. So I'll go ahead and open it up so you can see. It's got a little snap, and I'm warning you, it's been used for sure by our cat, so there's a lot of little scratch marks. But it opens to be about this big. As you can see, our cat, like I said, is 20 pounds, and he did his business very well in here, so don't worry about that. It's very sturdy. With litter inside of it, it's very easy to pick up. It is super, super awesome. Like I said, though, the only thing is our cat likes to kind of cover up his mess, so it does scratch a little easier. So you can kind of see those little white marks. Those are all scratch marks, but there's no holes at the bottom. It's super, super awesome. It folds up very, very easily, as you can see. Oh, I'll just put it over here. Oh, there we go. It folds up so easily, and we put it right in our backpack. So with using this during our flight, is like I said, we had it in our backpack, but we also needed litter. So we used, we have a litter robot for Felix, and it's okay if you don't have that, but we just kind of used one of his little waste bags. It's about this big, as you can see. We kind of filled, I think, the litter up to the line right here. We judged it with our heart, what we thought would be the best in there. It worked out really well. So we did that, and then we just tied it and put it in our backpack. At the Grand Forks Airport, they did check our litter. They went through our backpack and were wondering what that was, and they opened it up and tested it. At the Minneapolis airport, we didn't have to, and then at Baltimore, they did not check it. So it depends on where you're flying. Give yourself extra time just in case, because they do want to kind of go through some of that stuff sometimes. The next thing that we did, and I'll explain more about that in just a second, but the obvious ones that are easy, is we've got our food and our water bowl. As you can see, this water bowl actually came with this purchase, which was super awesome. And then I've had this one from a prior purchase before, I can't remember, but I did get it on Amazon, so I'll link it below. These were super awesome. We clipped them to Felix's little bag, and whenever we realized that he needed some food and water, you just pop it open, fill it up. When you're done, you wipe it off, clean it up, and there you go. Same thing with this one. So super, super easy. Again, I was expecting to just use them during the flight time or the time of us traveling, but we used it in ROM and a little bit after until our unaccompanied came. So make sure that you have the necessities. Again, with that, we also made sure that we had just a bag of food ready to go. We actually did a much bigger bag just in case if we would get, delayed and stuff like that. And it carried us over for a couple days in ROM, especially while we were adjusting to the time difference. So I'd recommend that. Kind of overpack the food depending on where you're going, especially with us having a 7-hour time difference. We needed to adjust. We were sleeping a lot. We didn't feel like going to the grocery store right away, so I'm glad that we had that leftover stuff just in case. A lot of people were asking me about the in-airport experience with our cat. So we've kind of talked about leading up to it. I'll talk about the day that we were taking off and all of the experience after. We had a 6 a.m. flight out of Grand Forks. Luckily, we lived about 20 minutes from the airport, so we woke up early. And right away, our cat went straight under the bed and was not coming out. So that was really fun to work on. He's really good with treats, so I would just kind of shake the bag and then he started to come out. We got him in the carrier. He's been super comfortable before in it, but of course that day he was really chatty and was wondering what was going on. So with that being said, prepare for the worst. They're animals. They don't know what's going on. You can't really explain it to them. You can prepare them as much as you can beforehand, but you've got to be patient with them. And give yourself plenty of time. Like I said, our cat, the second we woke up, dipped out, went under the bed. So that was pretty crazy. So we got to the airport. They checked us in. We went through security. If you don't know, you actually have to hold your cat when you go through TSA. So you have to run the bag in the little x-ray machine, and you personally, your body goes through while holding your cat. I highly recommend harness or putting a collar on them with a leash, doing what you need. Make sure they're comfortable with it, train them beforehand, but make sure they're wearing this throughout the entire experience. Felix got a little kind of nervous and stuff and almost tried to jump out of my arms, and thank goodness I had this on him because I could grab it quickly and make sure that he was good to go. Because the last thing you need while you're moving or PCSing is a runaway cat in the airport. So make sure that you do that. I've seen plenty of videos of harness training cats and stuff. We tried. Our cat's not really the best at all that, so I would just put it on him, try to make him comfortable a couple weeks beforehand. He would honestly just kind of lay there and then just like fall over, but at least he knew what it felt like on his body. So that's one thing for sure, is make sure that they have that on throughout the whole experience. The leash, get a really easy, light one because it's gonna be in the carrier with them. You don't want them to be uncomfortable and stuff. And so this was also from Amazon, and I've linked it below. Going back to what I was saying, we get to the Grand Forks airport. We're waiting to get on. It's really early in the morning. It's about a 50-minute flight to Minneapolis. Felix did fine. He was underneath the seat the whole time. We have a 3-hour layover at the Minneapolis airport. We're just kind of hanging out. I went to a private little corner that was quiet. By a window, he could kind of look outside, watch the planes, and do all of that stuff. Again, treats, treats, treats. We rewarded him. And all of that stuff. Not a lot, because you don't want them to use the restroom while you are in your travel experience, but you also want to make sure that they know that they're doing a good job with this crazy experience they're not used to. So from the Minneapolis airport, it was a 3-hour flight to Baltimore. Felix did a great job. He was underneath our seat. He was very quiet, and yeah. So we got to BWI. Once we landed, we were picked up on a shuttle. We were taken to a local Holiday Inn. So we get there. We knew that we were going to be there the entire night. Typically, my husband and I love to go out to eat or experience the city, the area. With Felix, we could tell this was a huge new experience. So we stayed in that night. We had food brought in and just made sure that we were kind of making sure he was comfortable. What else that we did was right away, without even getting him out of his crate, I opened up the litter box, put it in a little area, poured in the litter, got his food, his water, all ready to go. So the other thing that I did, and I said that I would talk about it, was this was our lifeline. It is called FELIWAY spray, as you can see. You can get it at your local pet store. I got it on Amazon. It is super, super great. What we did was This stuff it just kind of helps with calming them. So it's proven just to help with the scratching, with urine, with stress, with spraying, all of that stuff. So it can help with a lot of stuff. We've used it before with scratching furniture, and it honestly worked wonders. But I did hear that if you spray this in their carrier, this can really help them and kind of calm them. So the night before, not the morning of, because I use a lot, so it was kind of wet and stuff. The night before our flight, I drenched Felix's pet carrier just to make sure he was nice and calm. And I honestly think that it really helped. Once we got to the airport, or the airport hotel that was nearby, I sprayed that room just because it's a pet-friendly hotel. So I guarantee there were probably other cats or dogs in that room before. I wanted to make sure Felix was really, really safe, felt safe, and was calm. So I just sprayed around all of that stuff. Felix still did try to find places to hide. He couldn't go under the bed, but he would try to go to the back corner and stuff. So again, make sure that you're just really calming them, giving them plenty of attention, plenty of treats, and use this spray. It's wonderful. Here's one thing that we were really, really happy that we did. We knew that there could be random expenses with traveling, especially all the way overseas. So we saved up just in case. Now, our flight from BWI to Ramstein was supposed to take off at 9 p.m. the next day. If you've stayed at a hotel before, you know that checkout is usually at like 11 or noon. We didn't want to be in the airport for several hours with Felix being in his crate, especially before, an 8-hour flight. So we spent a little bit of the extra money that we had, and we bought one more night. Even though we weren't going to stay there, we were able to have a central location until it was time to go to the airport whenever it was closer to our flight. I'm so glad we did that, because if you've flown out of BWI before, you know that majority of the time your flight is going to be delayed. Our flight was at 9 p.m. and it was delayed all the way until 3 a.m. So that's about 6 hours. I'm so glad we had that room just to kind of hang out. We left at about midnight. We got to BWI. Felix was doing really, really well in his carrier, and it was a long experience. So now we're at BWI. We've gone through check-in. We go to the TSA area. They did not check the litter and all that stuff, but again, I had to hold him and the carrier had to go through. So that was really nice to be able to make sure that we had plenty of time. When we got to BWI, it was really late, so we were the only flight in our terminal area. So we went all the way down to the end. We wanted to make sure we could still hear, but we went all the way down to the end to a quiet little corner that no one really was. And here was our saving grace. Before we left the hotel, Felix he refused to use the restroom. Cats are different. Cats are not like dogs. Dogs you can take outside, and majority of the time they'll probably go. Sometimes they don't. With a cat, it's very hard. Trust me, I tried. I was really trying to get him to use the restroom several hours before we left. I stopped feeding him and giving him water, which made me so sad, but I stopped a couple of hours beforehand just in case, and he would not go. I even picked his little butt up and put him in the litter box, and he would just look at me. It's not a dog. So I was like, great, we have several hours before our flight takes off, but our flight is 8 hours long. He's going to need to use the restroom. So here was the best thing ever. I found this on Amazon. It's the smallest one that I could find, and it did fit in our backpack, or else it would typically have to be a carry-on because it's you hold it. This right here is a pop-up, there's a little Felix hair on it, is a pop-up play tent, okay? Felix didn't really do a lot of playing in it, but it's a pop-up tent, and I will demonstrate it now. Okay, so here is the pop-up play tent. It just unzips like this. You take it out. Okay, it's got a little handle here, and voila, look at this. So we took this, looks just like that. We set it on the ground. You can see there's no holes, no openings, all this stuff, and it gives your cat just a little extra room. So the best thing about that pop-up play tent, like I said, is it gives your cat just a little bit of extra room. They're more cozy, they're able to stretch out and stuff. The other thing that was phenomenal was this litter box fit right inside with still plenty of room to spare. So I put a couple of Felix's toys in there. I popped this open, poured the litter in the litter box, put Felix in the carrier or in the play tent, and then closed it. Like I said, we were off to the side, so nobody really saw and stuff, and I kind of didn't care at that point. I wanted Felix to use the restroom. So we stayed over to that side about an hour, hour and a half. We were able to just pour the litter back into the bag, fold up the stuff, put it all in our backpack, and then load the plane. Got on the plane, we were actually the very last row, which we were kind of sad about at first, but then we realized our cat is very chatty. I think he did better than I expected, but it was still a little hard. So like I said, be patient, expect the worst. They're cats, they don't know what's going on. Our cat already is very chatty. I'm surprised he hasn't come in here and started meowing. So being at the back of the plane, it's loud because of the rotators and all of that back over there. So at least that covered his meowing sound, but he was so loud. We grabbed him and we had to put him, he had to stay in his carrier, obviously. And when I put his carrier on my legs, kind of right here, and I was able to put my hand in there and pet him, that did calm him down. My legs did fall asleep, so we took turns, and so my husband took him for a couple of hours, and then I did. So that lasted about 7 hours. Felix was on our legs for about 7 hours. So we always joke about that now and laugh and stuff, but it's how it is. It's the experience. So we land at Ramstein. It does take a bit to get off the plane. There's certain people that are going to other areas and stuff. Then we go through the little customs at the bottom. We grab our stuff. We get with our sponsor and we get in our car, and he did well again. I did not let him out because it was just about an hour longer. So I wanted to just make sure he stayed in there. I didn't want him to kind of change up his scenery and stuff or anything like that. So we got to the base, we got checked in with our TLF, and once I was in there again, I made sure that I sprayed the room as much as I could because it was pet-friendly TLF that smelt definitely like a dog or another cat had been in there. I popped open all of his food and water. We kept it in the same place the entire 2 weeks of our ROM and all of that. Okay, so now we are in Germany. We're ready to go. Now we're going to talk about the experience afterward because I didn't really think much about it. I thought about our experience during, but not really about afterwards. Make sure that you're just establishing a routine right away. And the next thing, I know I've said it several times, but really, really be patient with them just because it's just a totally new experience. They got so used to the sense and the location of your old house, apartment, wherever you lived before. Now they're going to be in probably Rome, especially during the pandemic. And then all of a sudden, you know, if you haven't found a house yet, you're going to be still in Rome. Then you get a house, but your stuff's not there, or wherever you're living and stuff. And so it's just very, very different. So with that being said, like for us with Felix, the first couple of nights out of Rome, he got kind of used to the TLF room. But our first couple of nights in our house, obviously we did not have any of our stuff yet. We had our FMO furniture, and Felix meowed all night long, almost every single hour. It was definitely hard on us because he was really stressed. It was a new environment, a new experience, and it was tough on him. The other thing that I noticed is right above his eyes going up to his ears, he started to lose his hair. And I didn't notice that before. It wasn't a thing at Grand Forks, but he was kind of over grooming. I kind of caught him in the act where he was just like really like scratching really hard and stuff. And that's not normally like him. So you may notice some different behaviors or tendencies that is normally not like them. Right away, get established with your local vet, whether it's going to be on base or around the area. Talk to them about this experience. Luckily, our base vet is so wonderful. She kind of gave me some tips and then a little bit of medicine just to kind of help him out. I got more of this spray, drenched our entire house, and that really, really helped as well. It took him about a month or two to just fully kind of calm down and get used to it. Now we don't have any problems anymore or anything like that. That is our experience. That's kind of how it worked. That was our first time really PCSing with him, and then especially it was overseas, so we didn't do everything perfect. We learned a lot from the experience, but if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Oh, hello. Can we go to Germany now, please? Felix. Come here. This is a good boy.